Hi guys. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. From wherever you are seeing this, this is a video, and we are going to start with another new web series, and that is called Data Science A to Z. So what is Data Science A to Z? So if you are seeing this video, and if you are seeing this in YouTube or somewhere, that you must be having the email account at least, and you must be having Facebook account or something, whatnot, what else, and your data is already being analyzed and that is being used by somebody for the business reasons. So can you believe it? And that's true. And you must be hearing a lot of business things and a lot of buzz about these recent scenarios like data, and Geo has launched a new offer like everyone free data, everyone use it. So there are a lot of data exploration is happening at one end, and at the other end there is a magic box happening. Like people are saying data analytics, data analytics, data science, data scientists. There are things where there are newly generated jobs and this is getting more attention from the people. So we decided, okay, let's share the knowledge of what we have with the people so that everyone will be get to know what is it. And it's not so much difficult what we are seeing and something is doing some rocket science or nothing like that. It's like we are doing all the analytics in the basics part. So that's what we are going to see this in this video series, which is called Data Science A to Z. And we will be seeing it part by part and episode by episode. And while seeing, we'll be seeing a lot of interesting things about the technologies which you see, important events which you see, what happened behind them, or how we can analyze it to make it better, and those things. Today we are going to see very interesting problem with this. So the problem is, you might have heard Samsung Galaxy Note 7 that is being exploded in the flights or something. So that is banned, and that created a huge news buzz about the world because it's a brand Samsung. So what happened to that? Safety is the first thing what the brands do. Does this affect the trustworthy of the company, and does this affect the trend of them? Samsung. So what happened after the launch of new phone, which is GZ8? Or I may be wrong about the phone names, but those are the phones that's recently released. I'm not a so much phone follower, by the way. So we will analyze what happened to the brand after what happened to that Samsung Galaxy 7, and we'll analyze it with the data we already have, which is data we already have free access to. The data is already available to everyone. So we'll try to bring the data and we'll analyze it and we'll try to find out what happened to the Samsung trend, and what happened to the companies, whatever the trustworthy they have. So we are going to analyze the people mindset. So what is the best source to get the people mindset and everything? There's a lot of interesting things which happen behind it. So maybe I'm not a good techie person to talk about that in data science. I'm the Hadoop guy and Spark guy. So I wanted to introduce you Aritra Banerjee, who's a data scientist, and he's been doing a lot of plays around the data, and he makes the data speaks. So that's a very interesting thing you might be hearing recently. Data, you already have a data, but what do you understand from the data? Unless or until you understand, you make the data work, it is nothing to you. So I invite Aritra to take over the session to tell us what's the big data A to Z and everything. And I want him to take care of start the session. Yeah, Aritra Banerjee.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Armugam, for the warm welcome. And hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to meet you all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are watching this video from. So I am Aritra Banerjee. I am a senior data scientist. My work is to collect, clean, analyze, and interpret the data that's available to us, and to draw relevant insights, and to understand what the data is saying to us. So nowadays, you know that we have free data all over the world. There is a there is an abundance of data, starting from your structured, semi-structured to unstructured data. And what are we doing with that data? How much do we understand about the data that is already present, staring at our faces? How can we make use of the data that is just sitting in our enterprises, doing nothing? How do we take care of those data? How do we clean the data? How do we interpret the results? How do we understand what the data has to say to us? So this web series will walk you through all the techniques that we use in data science, everything that we do to understand structured data and unstructured data. How do we clean? How do we process? How do we analyze? And how do we interpret the results of the data that is at hand? So to start off our session, the first example, as Armugam has already told you, we are going to look into one of the major handset manufacturers in the world, namely Samsung. So Samsung had launched one of its flagship devices last year called the Galaxy Note 7. Now, the company ran into a very big debacle after the release of the phone. The phone had certain issues with its battery, wherein the battery used to explode while the phone was charging. So there have been many cases all over the world where customers have been using the phone, talking to the phone while it was charging, and it exploded. And they had many times they had injured themselves. They had suffered from burns and whatnot. So the what happened after that is that customers, they returned their phones and they bought phones from other manufacturers, say for example Apple or LG. So that in turn led to Samsung losing a huge chunk of market share in the telecom industry. And the company had made a very bad name for itself. And you can imagine, being Samsung being the second largest handset manufacturers in the world, issues like this seriously affect your reputation as a company. And we in this example, in this case study, we will look, take a deep dive into what the customer sentiments were towards Samsung after this debacle happened with Note 7, and what the customer mentality is towards the company after the company launched their new flagship device, says the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus. Now, Samsung before launching the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus models, Samsung boldly told us that it had resolved the issues that its previous model had regarding the battery, and it had also launched a new feature called the Infinite Display. Now, let's look at what we are going to aim for. What is our business objective in this particular case study? So, what we'll do is we'll look for the general feeling of the customers towards the company Samsung after Note 7 was released, and the general mindset of the people towards the company after Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus were released. So for this purpose, what we are doing is we will be sourcing data from one of the most popular social media platforms, that's called Twitter. So in a nutshell, what we did over here is that we extracted tweets from Twitter, tweets related to Note 7 and tweets related to Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus. Now, in our magic box, we did some magic. What we did is we cleaned the data, we processed the data, we analyzed the data, and we created visualizations out of the data. Then what we did is we interpreted the data. Now, I'm not going into what we interpreted, rather, I'll show you what we arrived at after cleaning, processing, analyzing, and visualizing the data. So, what we created over here is that we created word clouds. So, in a brief one liner, I would like to explain you what a word cloud is. So a word cloud is nothing but a representation of the most frequently used words in a book. So for example, you are reading a story. You have a storybook which has around 100 pages, and you want to see which word appeared most times in that storybook. So that particular word will come in the biggest font size. Now let's look at the uh, results of our text analytics for Note 7 and GS8 and 8 Plus. So the first slide over here represents the positive words that were spoken about the phones. Now on the left we have the word cloud for Note 7. So you can see very few positive words were actually being spoken about Note 7 when you compare that with Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus. So we do have a couple of positive words saying positive and excellent, but nothing substantial to talk about the phone. Rather, when you look at the right hand side, we have the word cloud for S8 and S8 Plus. And you can see a lot of good things have been spoken over here. People are saying that the phone is awesome, it's exciting to use.
Slide is not changed. Daridra,
Yeah,
slide is not changed. Can you change the slide? Yeah.
okay. Shall I start from beginning?
No, no, it's fine. You can carry on.
Okay. So on the right side, if you see, we have the word cloud for S8 and S8 Plus, and people have been saying amazing things about this phone. People have been saying that the phone is awesome, it's exciting, it's great to use. It's we are very happy with the phone. It's everything is supported. It's amazing. It's very cool. So obviously, we can see that people are talking in a more positive sense towards the new phones as compared to Note 7. Moving on, in the next slide, we have all the negative words that were being spoken about Note 7 and Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus. Now you can see on the left, people are saying that they have actually suffered, they were shocked, they were in a mess, it was a disaster, debacle, destroy, explode, whatnot. So people have been very, very critical about the performance of the Note 7. But on the right side, if you see that people have not actually spoken bad things about S8 and S8 Plus. Yes, few people have been saying that it's hard to use probably because the Android operating system that came with this phone is was the latest Android 7.1, and does use to it does take a little bit of time to get used to a new OS. So people might be saying that it's hard to use. It's There have been a few scratches and all, but apart from that, no very negative things have been said about this phone. Now let's see what people are saying. How many negative words have been used for Note 7 compared to how many negative words are being used for GS8 and S8 Plus? So the visualization that I have over here tells us on an average how many negative words are being spoken about a particular phone in every tweet. So the red lines are for negative and the green lines are for positive words. So on the left, if you see that at an average, every tweet for Note 7 had at least two negative words or two to three negative words being spoken about the phone, and very few positives were being spoken. However, moving on to the Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus, you see that on average, more number of positive things are being said about the phone rather than negative. So now that I've shown you all the analysis and all the results that we have come from analyzing the tweets for these two models, let's come to interpreting the results. The question that we asked at the beginning of this exercise was that has Samsung been successfully able to convert the mindset of the people after releasing their new handsets? Now, yes, they have actually been able to convert the mindset. They have been able to change the mentality of customers, and they are now in a favorable position to the customers. And going forward, any new models they release will be very well received by the customers. That is obvious from our exercise. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this particular exercise, and I hope that you have a lot of questions at the end of the exercise. You will seriously be wanting to know how much uh, how we did this analysis, what steps we took, what method we used, what is text analytics, what is sentiment analysis, what is social media analytics, and we will definitely be going through each and every topic of that. And for that, you have to tune in and log into our next session, wherein we'll be discussing about analyzing textual data. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day.
Yeah, thank you, Aritra, for that wonderful session. So it really made us understand what really one of the use cases, and it's a real-time example which we did for months to just to get to the results. And it's really fantastic. All these things you can do at your home with your home computer. You can implement these things. In the upcoming series, we are going to see how you can implement in step by step of these things and what is in the analytics world. So let's dive in. Stay tuned and subscribe to us to not miss our next video in this web series. It's Harboom signing off. Bye bye. See you. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.